Most of the conversations that we have around body image and nutrition focus a lot on losing weight, right? But actually, there are so many people who quietly struggle with the opposite, trying to gain healthy weight, build strength, or overcome some of those social stigmas that are tied to being really slim. And being sometimes a naturally slim person can bring its own unsolicited advice from people saying, you look kind of scrawny, especially here on the African continent where
I've called you scrawny, and you're like, Ben, do not call me scrawny.
yes, Ben has called me that. I'm like, that is not a thing. You should not. Don't ever
I
call
only
me
knew,
scrawny
only
again.
I only knew because you told me that
Yeah.
that's not a nice word.
That is not a nice word at all. And so many of these people, especially
Sure.
on the continent, right? Different places in the world have different like body images or the way that they like. And here in Africa, we like to say, yeah, women need to be like voluptuous and you have to be curvy. So sometimes when it comes to like body image, there are people who are like, yeah, I'd like to gain a little bit of weight because I want to look a particular way. Or sometimes you can actually be quite unhealthily small and you need to gain weight for your own health as well. So we're looking at that, right? The struggle of gaining weight, but also how to gain weight safely and build strength. Joining us on the line to have this conversation is registered dietitian Talia Pillay. Talia, thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Palesa. Good morning, Benjamin. Thank you so much for having me and to talk about something that isn't really spoken about very often.
Yeah, that's so true. Nobody really speaks about it because every time we think about body goals, every time we think about why people are going to the gym, we're like, yes, we're all going to lose weight, and we're all going to look great in our bikinis and our mankinis when December comes and
the
we go on
brave ones, of
holidays for the
course.
brave ones, of course, not the likes of Ben.
No.
But nobody actually speaks about those who struggle with gaining
Yeah.
weight. But who would this be?
Okay, so you're right. We often talk about losing weight, and it's such a big topic everywhere that we see, whether it's social media, etc. But there's so many people who don't share their journey of wanting to gain weight. And really, you are looking at people who sometimes genetically are naturally more slender or slimmer than those. They have a higher metabolism, so they burn and process foods a lot quicker, so they don't store fat the same way that we do. And then there's of course people who have health issues, who don't allow them, and I think that's don't allow them to gain weight. And I think that's the whole stigma within the continent of Africa, right? Is that if you are slim, you are sickly. But
Yeah.
some people have genuine health issues that don't allow them to gain weight. And then of course sometimes people are just on medications that suppress their appetite, doesn't allow them to gain weight. And not everyone has the same level of appetite regulation, that all of us are different in the way our appetite is regulated.
And what would that process be like trying to gain weight? I'm sure it must be also difficult because you were highlighting that even the metabolism works faster. It probably is a lot of hard work, and it's not just about eating a lot, right?
Yeah, that's right. You hit the nail on the head there, Ben. It's not just about eating a lot. We can all eat a lot, but it's about what we actually put into our bodies, right? People have this misconception, oh, I'm thin, I can eat whatever. But whether you're thin or whether you're overweight or a normal weight, what you eat determines the results you're going to see. And sometimes just eating whatever means that you are predisposed to, chronic diseases of lifestyle, even though you might be thin. But it is a very slow, gradual process, and it requires a lot of consistency and patience, just like anything else when it comes to living healthily. You really want to look at eating the right foods, eating nutrient dense foods that are high energy and high protein, but still healthy enough that's not going to cause a buildup of unhealthy fats or unhealthy carbohydrates, because anyone can eat more, right? It's about what you're eating that is so important.
A lot of us think that the gaining of the weight is usually the easy part, simply because many of us, when we just start to consume more food or eat in unhealthy patterns, will automatically start gaining weight. But for those who do need to gain weight or want to gain weight for their own particular reasons, you mentioned quite a couple a few minutes ago, it's not just as easy as like packing on, making your plate bigger or putting in more food. There are those who've tried to do that and still haven't achieved achieved that weight gain goal. So how do you actually go about this? Where do you start if you're starting to gain weight?
So I would say you started looking, what are you currently eating? I think a lot of people assume they're eating enough, but they're not actually eating enough. I know calories is a big word, and everyone's either counting calories or it's really daunting or it's really easy to some. But it's really about how much am I putting in, how much energy am I putting into my body, how much calories am I putting in, and how much I'm expending. Looking at what you currently eating. Are you eating enough for your body? Looking at what is your appetite like. I think a lot of people just assume, oh, if I eat big volume, I'm going to get in. But sometimes your appetite is only going to allow for you to eat like 6 more meals a day. And it has to be something that fits into like a person's lifestyle. So you're trying to gain weight, but what is realistic for you? What do you like? What don't you like? Because gaining weight is about eating a variety of foods. That's what's so important, right? And it's also about making sure that if you are struggling with your appetite or you're struggling to eat in volume, how can you make your smaller meals more nutrient dense? Whether it is adding something like nuts and seeds to our meals or adding in a little bit more protein to our meals, finding ways to supplement our meals. I know people talk about this is like a lot of people taking protein shakes, but
Sure.
also using these like protein shakes or supplements to help to actually do this. Because if you're somebody that says, well, I can eat 3 meals a day, but the snacks in between are a bit difficult. Okay, how can we make it more doable for you so that it doesn't feel like you're eating three
Hmm.
meals again? You're eating actually 3 meals, 3 snacks, and it's dense enough for
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely. And Talia, I mean, do you stop exercising because one would say, you know what, I just need to gain that weight. So what's the point of going to the gym?
No, definitely not. Research actually shows that exercise can actually help to stimulate your appetite. But remember, when we're gaining weight isn't just about seeing a number on the scale. We don't want people to just gain fat mass, right? Because then it's going to predispose them to, like I said, like diseases of lifestyle, chronic diseases of lifestyle. So, yes, you will gain some fat mass, but your exercises like your weight training, your strength trainings, etc., those can actually really help to build muscle mass. And this can, yes, it might speed up your metabolism, but it also will help to regulate your appetite, but also help you do something with the extra energy you're putting into your body, right? So it's not just about gaining weight and letting it all be fat mass. It's about gaining weight and letting it become muscle mass. Because especially for like females, for example, where muscle mass is so important for maintaining good bone health and preventing osteoporosis, we want to make sure that we are actually gaining the muscle mass. So, no, definitely wouldn't encourage anyone to stop exercising.
All right, Talia, we need to take a quick break. There's been this trend from what I've seen with people who are trying to gain weight, and it seems like people are only eating oats. Oats with everything.
Oh, wow. Really?
So I want to come back
Oats
and
with
see
everything?
oats with everything. So I want to see if this is the right approach because people are swearing by eating oats if you want to gain weight. But what are other nutritious foods that you can actually bring into your diet if you are on that weight gaining journey? We're chatting to registered dietitian Talia Pillay, speaking about gaining weight in a healthy way.
The voice of the continent, now online, with all your sports fixtures, lifestyle, and more. Your life, your rhythm, your Africa. Channel Africa. Find it for free on Google Play and the Apple App Store. Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
Hey, our mobile app is right online, so do check it out on every app store. Just check out Channel Africa. You can listen to us on your phone. That's a great, exciting way to listen to Channel Africa. Let's continue our fitness conversation with our guest today, and we are speaking to Talia Pillay, a registered dietitian, speaking on those who are not trying to lose weight, but trying to gain weight. Hey, yeah, this world, it's got a lot of things. Well, there is, yeah, it's
when
like,
you
can I
guys are
be
trying
them?
to,
Can I be you?
let's just change places.
But it is a serious thing
Yeah.
because sometimes it's about body image, but sometimes it's about real health issues that should be considered while you are gaining weight. Talia, you were speaking about the importance of actually keeping an exercise routine. What kind of exercise routine do you maintain? Because you don't want to go too hard as well, because you don't want to lose the reason why you are trying to even change your diet. So what would you advise for the motion to be when you are at the gym?
So the guidelines do state that we should be getting at least 90 minutes of exercise a week. So that exercise can come in the form of whether it is walking. It doesn't need to be, this high intensity
Hmm.
exercise, because I think people often associate, like, I think in this day and age, there's this association of exercise to be really high intensity. But it can be something as simple as like weight training, which builds your muscles, improving. We want to exercise to ensure we have good cardiovascular health. So going for a walk, whether it's a 30-minute or 45-minute walk that isn't intense like a run, you can do that. And even if you had to run, as long as you are putting in your calories, what you expend, you putting it back in to ensure that there's no calorie deficit to prevent further weight loss. You want to ensure there's a calorie surplus to ensure that you're actually gaining that weight. So any exercise is good for you, any exercise at all. But for this particular one, for gaining weight in particular, I would definitely say your strength training, moderate exercises like your walking or your joggings. And if they want to do like moderate cardio exercises like your swimming, your cycling, you don't have to do it at a very intense level.
Let's chat a little bit about the kinds of food we should be eating.
Yeah.
I've been seeing it trending everywhere. For gaining weight, you have to eat oats in the morning, pack on the oats, put in a lot of dairy products in there, and
Mhm.
just go in with the oats. Is this the right way? Or are there other foods that you should be incorporating into your diet in this journey?
If I had to give one food an award for being that food that is always there for whatever health craze or trend it is, it
Yeah,
has to be oats,
it's
right?
definitely, yes.
We always find you want to lose weight, eat oats.
Yeah, you want to
But
gain weight, eat oats.
oats, exactly. But it is such an incredibly versatile food. Something that's so interesting is that cereals within South Africa and Africa are often fortified with stuff like vitamins, minerals, iron. So many people don't actually know this, that they have additional micronutrients added to it. And when you are underweight, you tend to lack these micronutrients. But why oats in the morning or oats whenever is such a versatile food is because it really allows you to modify it, right? You have oats, you boil it, or if you use instant oats, but it allows you to use something like a full cream milk to add on some fats and protein and calories to it. And then you can kind of do whatever you want with it. You can add in peanut butter and chopped up fruit, sprinkle some seeds on top. Or people are doing overnight oats where they do like some chia seeds, oats, Greek yogurt, and you can add some whey protein to it. So it allows you to create this breakfast that is a lot more calorie and nutrient dense. And because it doesn't really have a particular taste, I want to say, you can modify it to your taste. So you can make it a bit sweet, add fruits in, do baked oats where you make like, you bake some berries in it with yogurt and then you pop it into your oven or air fryer, you bake it. You can have a cold breakfast, you can have a warm breakfast, you can feel like you're having like a little treat with it. So there's so much that you can do with oats, and that's why we see everyone sharing recipes that has oats in it.
That's interesting, right? And let's keep with the theme of nutrition. In
Mhm.
terms of the healthy fats to incorporate into your diet, what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah. So fats are actually such a great way to add more like energy density because fats are so high in energy, right? So a really great way is that if you use like a margarine, for example, or even if you use butter for that matter, we want to stay away from too much of saturated fats. And that's more stuff like your fried foods, your too much of butter. But you can actually use your fats as a great way to really fortify your meal. So something like if you're having, let's say you're having maybe some protein and rice. You can add maybe like a teaspoon of margarine, and that's just going to increase the like the calorie density of your meal.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to do a salad dressing, you can use your olive oils. You can use, yeah, like your olive oil or any of your oils to create that dressing. And then your nuts and seeds, your peanut butters, those fall under fats as well, and you can really use those to increase the density but not increase the quantity of your meal.
Hmm. That's interesting. And let's talk a little bit also about, you know, when do you know you've gained enough? Because sometimes you can keep going and going and going, but then,
Yeah.
you can lose kind of the reason why you're doing this.
Yeah, so it's all about, so I would definitely say at that point, if you're unsure whether you're at a healthy weight or unhealthy weight, I would definitely say at that point, contact a healthcare professional like your dietitian, because they can sit with you or even go calculate your BMI. And I say this with a pinch of salt because sometimes a BMI will say that you are overweight, even though you are very muscular. And technically, that isn't overweight, because it is a healthy weight to be at. So you can contact like a dietitian. You can do obviously a full body analysis where they look at how much muscle mass and how much fat mass you have. And these body composition scales and services are actually so common now and available so much more. But also standing on the scale, looking at the way your clothes fit you, looking at your body, there's so many telltale signs. When you look at your body, you know whether, okay, is my tummy looking a bit too big, or is this unhealthy, or am I actually healthy? You see the difference in the weight that we have on our body, whether it is too much of fat mass or too little, or if it's more muscle mass. And I think you also know telltale signs by your body. You know how you feel. If you're increasing too much of fat mass, you start to feel a bit more like sluggish, your energy levels are a little bit lower. Um, you'll know the telltale signs of your body. Whereas if you have more muscle mass, you feel a bit stronger, your energy levels are a bit more up. So, yeah.
Is there a sweet spot, Talia? And I say this because on both ends, whether you want to, gain weight or lose weight, but particularly when it comes to this gaining weight journey, is there a sweet spot that one should be looking at? And how do you gauge that? Because obviously we're not registered dietitians and we're not doctors either. So we don't really understand the impact that some of these things may have on our health itself.
That's such a good question, Palisa. Healthy looks and feels different for everybody. I will always say this, and it's all about go through different phases of our lives, and our bodies are impacted by so many changes. Whether it is hormones, stress, our body changes at each stage of our life, which is normal, which is what we experience, right? So I think that what's important is that the sweet spot depends on where you're at in life right now, where you feel good and where you feel confident. There's so much information that's available out there now, so many people who share their journey. There's so much stuff that you can research for yourself, but you yourself as a person know what a sweet spot is. I think the sweet spot is when you've gained a healthy amount of weight, but whatever you're doing is sustainable to you, and you can continue doing that, where you are eating a variety of foods that are balanced, you are exercising at least 90 minutes a week, and you are gaining steady and appropriate weight. I think that's the big thing, is that too much weight gain or even too much weight loss isn't good. It's all
Yeah.
about steadiness and consistency, and that is the sweet spot.
Well, thank you so much. This conversation was definitely a sweet spot. Thank you for joining us, Talia. It was really great to have this conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Benjamin and Palesa, for having me on to talk about something that's not very common. And I
Yeah.
hope we help some people today.
It's a pleasure.
That's registered dietitian
Okay.
Talia Pillay helping us in today's fitness and nutrition, chatting about how to gain weight safely but also in a healthy way.